Look at the difference in color. This is what it used to be, and this is where it's now.
I'll live long day. I'll live long day. I'll be moving along, singing my song, running around, ain't nothing wrong. I'll live long day. I said I'll live long day.
We briefly showed you in the last episode, but our list of things to do was quite full. At least we can cross off the empty file now. We know that the blue paint on the hulls will require more than a polish, so that's what we'll focus on today. But before we start, we have to update this list once again. Unfortunately, the quotes and waiting time for something as simple as the cockpit hatches are ridiculous, so we decided we will do it ourselves. For context, we are talking about these planks of plywood that come over the outboard and the fuel tanks and are a bit rotten now. Another update is about the autopilot. The Raymarine dealer we went to made it clear that it wasn't worth outsourcing. Raymarine will take over 600 Australian dollars just to look at it, and that doesn't include the repair. Knowing that a new unit costs 1,200, it's just not worth it. The process for restoring the hulls is fairly straightforward. First, we'll use a heat gun to remove the logo, then we'll sand the hulls using an orbital sander. We'll be doing one sanding with a 120 grit, then another one with a 240.
Look at the difference in color. This is what it used to be, and this is where it's now.
I need to point out the difference in blue as well. The important thing is to start painting within no more than a couple days of sanding, otherwise oxidation starts building up again.
Heart to heart and head to head, it is everything I never said. Lay me down and I will make my bed, but I won't go away. Shut me down or shut me up, you know. All I ever wanted was just a chance to bear my bones, my blood, but you look the other way. Running around, gaining some ground, making a sound. How you like that? Yeah.
Before I show you the big reveal, let's move on to the next big item on the list. We redid all of the deck paint because we were not happy with the result of the anti-slip from last year. This time, we used the Kiwi repaint, which is more expensive, but so much easier to use. Then, we got a surveyor on board as we needed it for the insurance, which thankfully didn't bring any major bad news.
See that? Yeah. Okay, that's nice and gold. That's good. If it was red, it's a problem. Lower grades of brass or bronze. It's called dezinkification. Salt attacks the zinc. Okay. Because it's a mixture of zinc and copper, and it takes out the zinc and leaves the copper. But because it's taking out the zinc, it's porous and becomes crumbly.
Only that the rock in the cockpit that we thought we had fixed in Gladstone was actually going slightly further, so we need to extend the cut.
So we've still got the area there.
That's almost done now. Let's move on to the dinghy. First, we added wheels so that we could drag it up and down the beach more easily and took on the next job, painting it.
You probably remember, but we lost our original dinghy back in Cairns. And at the time, so we were not in a marina, so the dinghy is kind of our car, so it's really difficult to live without one. So we really needed to replace it super quickly. Unfortunately, it was like not long after COVID, so if you wanted to buy anything new, there was like a 6 months waiting list, which was absolutely unacceptable for us. So we ended up getting one second hand. It's a good dinghy, but it's towards the end of its life, so you know, we're gonna need to do a few bits and pieces to make sure that it lasts as long as possible. And one of the things is that the Hypalon, however you pronounce that, it's quite dirty and it's gonna need a bit more protection, so we are gonna repaint it. In order to do that, that needs to be perfectly clean so that the paint can adhere to it. So that's what we are doing now. We're cleaning the dinghy. Come with us.
Heart to heart and head to head.
Once cleaned, we are planning to use a specific paint for inflatables. The instructions are quite clear. We can't apply where the original vinyl is flaking. That needs to be sanded until it doesn't flake anymore, which, well, never happened.
Saw the light from the burning bridges left behind. Oh, you thought you'd leave me there to die, but I'm not broken-hearted.
So yeah, now it really needs to be painted. Next step is to mask the required areas with some masking tape.
Easy, and now I'm alone, waiting to see. Oh, just gone slowly.
In order to paint, it's apparently recommended to use a brush and stay away from rolls, and it has to be natural fiber and not synthetic, as this will degrade in contact with the solvents in the paint. However, I really didn't like the finish with a brush, so I ended up using a mohair roll. It is the closest I could find to a natural fiber, so I used that, knowing it would start falling apart after 10 minutes of use.
Everything you said, I couldn't have. I got my own.
Now, you are probably all waiting for the review of the paint, and this is what I can say. Stay away from it. At 180 Australian dollars for 500 ml, you'd expect better results. We had to use 1.5 can for only the top of the tubes. We didn't bother with the bottom. It required 3 coats to perfectly cover, and even 4 would have been better. There are spots where the paint would simply not adhere, no matter what we tried, and it's already chipping away in places after only a month. Simply not the miracle we were hoping for, and certainly not worth the price.
A couple of other jobs that we managed to tick off the list in no time included the servicing of the outboard by a professional, mostly to keep our warranty intact. We changed the stove for the exact same one, and we finished the outboard trim to be able to lift the engines in and out of the water. We finally did our windlass servicing using this very useful tutorial.
Hello, my name is Will. I'm with Vetus Maxwell, and today I'm going to show you how to service your RC8 series windlass.
For the davits at the back of the boat, we got help. 2 stainless steel support bars were added from the sugar scoop to the extremity of the solar panel frame, and we extended the arm lifting the dinghy. Meanwhile, we removed the rot in the wood and filled it with resin, which will still need to be painted and drilled with a new bolt. We resealed a leaky sail track on the roof with some fixed tack that we also applied in other places, and retightened the trampolines. We finally installed the auto flush for the water maker and did an inventory that allows us to remove a lot of weight on the boat. For sailing relating items, we replaced the line holding the pulleys for the spinnaker, replaced the storm sail shackle, and changed cars on the main that were broken again, plus the zip on the boom bag. Exciting changes also include new cockpit mat and a new fridge. Due to the lack of time or affordable solution, we gave up on the waterproof cockpit cushions, the rain cover, and the gas system check. We also only removed the old broken barbecue and didn't replace it for now. Finally, we did all the repairs on the windows, replaced the anti-vibration washers on the wind generator, and created a storage solution for our compressor. There are still a few items on the list, but we know we'll get around to them at some point. Now, on to the big reveal.
I'm not even going to use any cleaning solution. I don't think I need to. I'll just give it a dry wipe because I don't want anything happening to the paint. It's like alcohol. So yeah, that's mint, eh? That's so good. Yeah.
glad we are back in the water. Time to enjoy again. Join us next week to find out about our plans for the season. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a like. Bye!